go forward. So on my side, I thank you and I hope everyone has a nice week. Let it be. Hopefully it's happening. Let it be KIL.
Okay, thanks, Bertus. Adrian, ZS6 SNY and the next ZS6 IPS. Okay, good stuff. Thanks, Pierre. Adrian, my apologies. Okay, that is an MDA that's coming in. Let's just have a look and see where we are on the statistics. Let's get that out of the way, guys. This is actually becoming pretty scary. I do know that the National Command Council has been recalled from leave. It's become a major or a main news item for the day, and have been called in to discuss the major increase and rise in new cases that have been reported, which was expected. If you take a look at what's been going on the beaches and the raves and the clubs and the parties and all the rest of it. You know, and I've said it before, the number of new cases might look high or they might look low. It's not the important part that one needs to consider. It is the percentage of the cases tested that return a positive result. And that is where the problem actually comes in. And I know that last Sunday I said to everybody, look, we're averaging about 16%. 16% of all the tests undertaken are returning a positive result. Well, unfortunately, that's no longer the case. We went up 16, 18, 22, 25, 26. Yesterday's figure alone is just over 30%, almost at 33%, which is more or less what it could have worked out to, based on the 30-odd thousand cases that were tested. Let me clear the timer. Okay, ZS6IP is returning. So the Saturday figures that were released, now naturally these are the previous 24 hours, so that would have been Friday cases. It was only 11,552. Yet the 25th Christmas Day, the report released was 14,796. These are the highest figures we've seen this entire year. And our total number of cases now is standing at 994,911. So whatever happens today, we've now broken through on the 1 million infected cases in South Africa. There's no two ways about that. The death toll, 26,521 South Africans have lost their lives. Now, last week, we were still sitting at 76 million. This week, we are at 80 million. 498,876 confirmed cases worldwide. And our death toll is now sitting at 1,760,442. So we've gone up almost 100,000 additional deaths, and we've increased 4 million globally in cases. And it is on this point that as I've been watching and monitoring what's been happening during the course of the week, it's been quite clear and evident of a trend that seems to have taken off, especially over the last month. But I think there's a much higher drive in the last sort of 2 to 3 weeks leading up to Christmas in particular, and that is on the use of face masks as a whole. Now, I know we've been through the entire year where people have said, yeah, but face masks this and there's that and there's this, but it has not been as such an intense drive over the previous months as it has been in the last month. And the number of videos that are now being released again on social media that are being shared on WhatsApp and other platforms. I mean, I just can't. Okay, so I dropped out there. Z6 OPS returning. So the increase in these videos that are circulating at present are really mind-boggling at the end of the day. I mean, it's quite clear that 2020 is the year that we fought 2 pandemics. The first one is COVID-19, and the second one, quite clearly, is just straightforward stupidity. Because, in all honesty, the people that are issuing these videos, I don't know where they get the information or who's feeding them the information. For example, the latest thing that has been circulated, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. If you haven't, you will. And it is of these so-called doctors that are now issuing the statements yet again. You've got this 25-year-old standing up and saying that they are surgeons in whatever field they put out there. And in all honesty, at the age of 25, they probably haven't even started the internship. How they're sitting at the surgeon level, I don't know. That's the first thing. But then the statements that are made, no, you shouldn't be wearing a face mask because all that you are doing every time you breathe out is you're breathing out toxins, and then you're breathing toxins back in, and you're killing yourself, and the system is designed to kill yourself. And you can't get air, you can't get oxygen through your face mask, and all the rest of it. And this is really becoming a serious problem, because yes, it is absolutely 100% clear that through our breathing we can infect each other in a number of viruses, and even in some cases bacterium infections like TB, for example, where that infection, that call it negative body, is attached to sputum or something that comes out of the mouth that is released by the mouth, and it's piggybacking on that droplet of moisture that suddenly you breathe in, and now you got it. And of course it goes and it lodges itself in the lungs, and well, I suppose it's like your cheese that was yellow that now starts looking like blue cheese. All right, 06 OPS returning. So, it's a given fact that yes, you can pick up these viruses, and you can pick up even bacteria infections through that we are breathing, which is exactly why from day one, the very first thing that was said was cough into your elbow. And the reason for that was so that you didn't spread your exhalation up to 5 meters or so in front of you. You sort of restricted it so that you didn't affect others around you. And the whole reason that the world said, guys, come on, wear a mask, was not to protect you. It's to protect everybody else. So that if you were to cough, the mask, okay, as long as it has a filter capability of stopping 50 microns or less, it'll work. You're not going to infect somebody else. It's not there to protect you. It's to protect the people around you. However, the point that I wanted to cover on mask wearing tonight is where these guys are making the statements, yes, but you're breathing out carbon dioxide and then you're breathing it back in. Now you don't have enough oxygen to live. And it's making the people's brains go mushy. And I know of so-and-so who has died as a result of some other kind of infection because of the fact that I've been wearing a mask for too long, or they've been wearing a mask for too long, or whatever the case might be. Guys, I think it's time that you start spreading the word. Wasn't there a song that had a couple of words like that, start spreading the word? Or I don't know, there's a catchy tune there. And quite simply, right, 76 IPS returning. So quite simply, what we need to understand is the following. Air, that thing that is around us, whether we got a mask on or whether we don't have a mask on, that thing called air contains 21% oxygen and 78% nitrogen. And that extra 1% is a whole lot of other gases. And of course, within that 1%, carbon dioxide exists. Now, if you think about it, that means that we are already breathing in carbon dioxide that exists in the 1% of the air. And the lungs are an amazing organ. In all honesty, they are. Those in the IT business will understand firewalls and the firewall concept. I suppose you could look at filtering or filters on the RF side as well. But a lung does just that. Not everything that we breathe in actually gets absorbed into our bloodstream through our lungs. Some, and a fair majority of gases do, but some gases don't. And the lungs work in such a way that they'll exchange the carbon dioxide in the bloodstream with oxygen in the lungs or from the lungs, so that when we exhale, the carbon dioxide leaves our bodies. And then, of course, when we inhale, we again fill our lungs with 79% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and so it goes on. However, when we in actual fact breathe out, we don't suddenly now start breathing out 100% carbon dioxide. Because remember, we breathe in 79% nitrogen, 1% other gases. So the 79% and the 1%, or 78 and the 1, that's the 79%, we exhale. Z6 IPS returning. But here's the amazing thing. It's actually more than 79%, because of the 21% oxygen we inhale, we exhale 16%. For every breath that we take, we utilize up to 5% of the oxygen that we inhale. And I say up to, because those that have got COPD, for example, the lung capacity and the lung function may be diminished or reduced. Therefore, we might only take in 4% of the oxygen that we've inhaled. And whatever we have not utilized gets exhaled. And it is for this reason that cardiopulmonary resuscitation has been an effective way of maintaining a patient's blood oxygen level, because the 16% that we blow out into another person, they can draw 5% oxygen. So at the end of the day, with the mask on, it is uncomfortable. I don't dispute that at all. And it becomes uncomfortable because of the fact that we are not accustomed to breathing in hot air. We are climatized to breathe in at the ambient temperature around us. And where we are suddenly presented with a warmer air environment, suddenly it's a bit of a shock and the body says, whoa, what's going on here? Dude, that's a time to stop and smell the flowers. Just don't take your mask off. There's nothing wrong with it. And the reason that with the mask on, the air temperature or the air we breathe in is a bit warmer is because naturally our body temperature is usually slightly above the ambient temperature, or as close to it as possible. And when we breathe out, whatever we breathe in, we've actually increased the heat of that air during the exchange. We breathe it out, it hits the mask, we breathe back in, and it's a bit warmer. But these stupid statements that are made that it is turning people's brains mushy. ZS6OPS returning is absolute bull, that you cannot, in actual fact, make your brain go mushy because you are wearing a mask. And I think in closing, if that were the case, every single surgeon and theater staff, personnel who staff a theater must be absolute idiots and morons. Because you've got to stop and think for a minute that these people spend the majority of their waking lives in a theater wearing a face mask. So for all of these anti-mask wearer people or persons, let's spread the word and ask them never to go to a surgeon in their lives, because you've got somebody who hasn't got a working brain that's going to operate on you. And I really hope that surgeon isn't a brain surgeon, because you can imagine. Guys, seriously, these surgeons get into theater for 14, 15, 20 hours at a time. There is not such a thing of, okay, let me lower this mask under my nose. Your patient is dead. Very seldom they step out of the operating room and swap masks. So we really need to think carefully about these videos, and let's just help everybody out. For every breath that we in actual fact take, we use 5% of the 21% oxygen, and we expel on the next exhalation up to 16%, maybe a little bit more, of oxygen. You got more than enough oxygen. Wearing a mask does not seal everything around your mouth and your nose at all. Those, where's our divers, the guys that have got their diving certification? They'll be able to speak to us nicely about gases through our mouth and nose. So let's just help these poor fellows out. It must really be terrifying for them to be thinking that every time they put on their mask, like losing a brain cell. I don't know. All right. Any other questions, statements, or otherwise? Let's start at the top of the list. Okay, let's just check if anybody wants to add themselves, and then I'll run through the list. Z6 OPS standing by. Okay, so nobody else. Let's start at the top of the list. I was just actually having a look at something here. I remembered I had a page open. Air contains approximately 0.04% carbon dioxide. So there you have it. ZS6 FPS, ZS6 OPS. Okay, good stuff. Just to throw a spanner in the works there. Yeah, I thought you were going to say there's a lot of idiots out there, but in any event, hey, it can be painful, that's for sure. I was just having a look at something else that was sent to me. Facts don't matter. Facts don't matter. All right, now the people's names that are being utilized here, unfortunately, we don't have any people by these names on the net. They might be listening, or somebody might have a name or two similar to. So my apologies. It's not meant at you. This is just a generalization which says facts don't matter. So sorry, Arthur. Your answer was actually correct. But Paul shouted his opinion louder, so he gets the point. And an extra bonus point also goes to Sue, as she was offended by your answer. So there we go. I think that says it all for 2020 as we come to a close. Oh, that's strange now. Even Zoom's got a 40-minute timer back on. And last week, they actually dropped it off. Okay, Z6SNY, Z6OPS.
But they now some mongering behind them all today, overnight. That's personally helping me with the problem. I think that yeah, I think your place can yeah. So you wear a mask to communicate. Otherwise,
Yeah, no, affirmative on that one, Adrian, and that again, unfortunately, is due to that increased temperature on the rebreathe. And if you guys remember correctly, we had this discussion on mask use, or similar discussion in January, just after the outbreak of COVID-19, but more so on the group. And a couple of things were brought up, but then once the World Health Organization had recommended the use of face masks on the net, I actually warned the listeners and those who participated to just be on the lookout for that. It is a bit of a shock, and it actually takes a fair bit of time to overcome it, and it's not an easy one to deal with. And just be fortunate that you're not working in the hazmat suit. As George pointed out last week, that is even more uncomfortable, and you know, you do lose a couple of kilos in that suit, guaranteed. All right, good stuff. Nobody else called in. Let's close the net down, and we'll pick you up next Sunday. And yeah, I don't know, Adrian, you're trying to point something out there, and
You skipped over Bertus on the last round.
you that I was wondering you. I just saw a finger going down. I thought you were being polite when I made my last comment. Bertus, my humble apologies. ZS6VIL, ZS6APS.
Anyway, first passed away and we buried him on Wednesday because one of the guys that was very conscious of the whole COVID thing, very hard and do all the right stuff and didn't even think to the other stuff that was wrong with him. And now he passed away and the focus was so on COVID that he didn't look at the other stuff that might be not going wrong with him. You didn't give attention. So we also need to look at the other stuff or not forget the other stuff, but look at that as well. And conscious of very things and the next very else.
Yeah, no, affirmative on that one, Bertus. I think maybe we can bring that in, make a note about it. We'll talk on that one in more detail next week. Okay, good stuff, guys. I want to say thanks for calling in. Bertus, I could have called you Sue there for a minute and given you the extra point for taking offense to skipping you there, but it's okay. We won't call you Sue. Like we won't tell who's the good and who's the bad and the ugly now, Adrian. We'll keep that one to ourselves as well. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll catch you next week. And again, I'm not going to wish anybody Happy New Year. I'll be at 10 a.m. On the 1st of January, and we'll pick it up from there. And if any of you send me a personal message before midnight or between the hours of 11 p.m. and 8 a.m. on the 1st, I will have to block you or something because I'm not going to be answering technology at all. I've got a radio. There we go. 7-3, everybody. This coming week, again, of course, sanitize, wear your masks, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. ZS6IP is releasing 145.625 general use. Cheers.
Yeah, no, I'm switching or normally switch off my phone when it's like Christmas or New Year's. I normally in the evening switch off my phone. I need to get the rest as well.
Yeah, no, it does. It gets a little bit much sometimes. I'm going to share this with the group that I received earlier, which I think is also quite relevant. So who did I send that to now? Here. I sent it to the person who actually, I sent it to the same person who sent it to me. How can you do something like that? Yes. And of course, now the messages aren't going out again, you know. Yeah, no, geez, Vodacom has been full of shit. Eh?
I don't know what is the problems there.
I don't know, but the ambulance services are battling. I want to tell you now, they're battling.
They're using internet-based radio.
Yeah, they're using WhatsApp, POC, and none of this is working. Even Zello, none of this is working. You must watch how the messages are flying. You suddenly get a burst of 10 calls or 2 calls all at the same time. It's scary, China. I don't know what's going on. I mean, KZN, they've now actually stipulated they're very concerned because all of their hospitals are at capacity. Western Cape is at capacity. Gauteng hasn't said what's going on. They haven't kicked in any of the field hospitals as such yet. So I think our dark days are still coming.
Yeah.
As you said, as I said earlier, it looks like the new strain is really a lot more virulent and it spreads easier. And I believe it spreads by being airborne and not by being on the surface anymore.
And it's getting to the younger generation. And that's not just because of the fact that they've been out on their fucking rave parties. But it's actually getting a foothold in every single age group now.
Yeah.
Like now, who received that message now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that posting of mine?
No, yours came in about a minute ago.
Because even there, I mean, you do a posting and like 10 minutes later it arrives.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I got your message as well.
Yeah, yours just come through to me as well.
Okay, guys, but less than a minute on Zoom left.
Okay, we'll catch you guys during the week.
Cheers,
Okay,
enjoy.
have a good one. Good test on good test on the 10 meter this afternoon, eh?
Yeah, it was interesting, eh?
Yeah, it was nice.
But it wasn't workable.
Yeah, between me and Adrian and Stephen, it was nice. Yeah, but we just couldn't. Well, I could not hear you at all.